Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. There has been an additional $6 billion assigned to the VA. Now, this $6 billion is directly for the Toxic Exposures Fund and was approved by Congress on both the House and the Senate through a funding bill called the Continuing Resolution. So, as they still try to figure things out, it takes us to the end of the fiscal year. Now, with that, I want to share this information with you because if you remember, there was a shortfall not that long ago, 1 year ago, $12 billion short. VA revised that in November of 2024 down to about 6.6 billion. And it remained unfunded, and then we just got this approved now. So I want to read through this, share with you all of this information. Before we do, though, I want to throw on a special thank you to Bill Saunders, 1879. Bill Saunders, thank you so much for the super comment, super chat. I truly appreciate your support very much. Thank you. All right, so jumping into this, the continuing resolution that was just passed through the Senate on Friday. Today is, I don't know, Monday the 17th of March 2025. There you go. So the continuing resolution includes this $6 billion for the Department of Veterans Affairs to make up for a shortfall in Toxic Exposures Fund that was first identified again last year in 2024 and got revised once. So I'm going to go ahead and jump up to the top of the article here on this continuing resolution because it does have some additional information for military and veterans. So we'll just go through it. Wanted to front load that $6 billion to the VA, so that's kind of up front, and then we'll revisit that. Hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. Every thumbs up and every minute watched really does help the channel. Those two asks, hitting the thumbs up, letting the video run, that's what puts this in the hands of others. And if you want to support in other ways, consider being a member. Thank you so much. All right, so let's jump into this. Government shutdown averted, money for junior enlisted pay. Remember that increase for enlisted. So that money for junior enlisted pay raise secured after Senate passes funding bill. All right, troop pay will be protected and money to cover upcoming pay raises for junior enlisted service members will be secure after Congress approved an extension of the government funding through September. Now, I found this specific articles on military.com, and this just came out March 14th, 2025. All right. Moving on, the Senate voted 54 to 46 to approve a stopgap spending bill known as a continuing resolution, or CR, on Friday evening, just hours before a potential government shutdown would begin. The House approved the continuing resolution earlier this week, and you probably saw some news on that. It now awaits the president's signature, and he is expected to sign it. Government funding was set to expire at the end of the day Friday, meaning the government would have shut down at 12:01 a.m. Saturday without congressional action. The bill was written entirely by House Republicans, and Trump backed the CR as a way to enable his administration to continue its unilateral cuts to the federal government. There's a quotation here. Great things are coming for America, and I am asking you all to give us a few months to get us through to September so we can continue to put the country's financial house in order. Trump posted on social media last weekend urging Republicans to support the bill. The CR, the continuing resolution, the CR's passage was in doubt for most of the week because at least 8 Democrats needed to join with Republicans to vote to advance it in the Senate. A procedural vote called a cloture motion requires 60 votes. Republicans hold 53 seats, and Senator Rand Paul came out in opposition of the bill early in the week. But on Thursday evening, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced he would back the cloture motion, arguing that a shutdown would allow Trump to cause more harm than a continuing resolution would. Schumer's decision gave a strong signal the CR would pass, and ultimately 9 other Democrats joined Schumer to advance the bill in a procedural vote. While the continuing resolution is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse. Much, much worse. Schumer, who voted against the final passage, even though he supported the cloture, said on the Senate floor Thursday night. In a government shutdown, troops continue working without getting paid unless, if you missed that, in a government shutdown, which didn't happen, troops continue working without getting paid unless Congress passes separate legislation to allow paychecks to continue during the shutdown, making shutdowns a big problem, right? While funding will continue now, the approval of the bill also means this will be the first time the Pentagon will operate under a continuing resolution for the entire fiscal year. The Pentagon typically hates continuing resolutions because they force the military to operate under the previous year's budget while facing increased costs. In general, continuing resolutions simply extend existing funding levels, which is why it's continuing. Though lawmakers sometimes include some extra funding, like they did in this one. In this continuing resolution, Congress sought to mitigate some of the fallout for the military by adding $6 billion above last year's budget for the Pentagon. In particular, Congress added funding for military personnel accounts for a 10% pay raise that junior enlisted service members are slated to get in April. The junior enlisted pay raise would have taken effect without extra funding being approved in the continuing resolution because Congress authorized the raise in the defense policy bill passed in December, but the military would have had to raid other personnel funds, such as for retention bonuses, in order to cover the increased paychecks. Despite the continuing resolution, including some extra Pentagon funding, top officers testified to Congress this week that it will still have some harmful effects on the military. The continuing resolution also included an extra $6 billion with a B for the Department of Veterans Affairs to make up for a shortfall in the toxic exposure fund that was first identified in 2024 and was revised twice, or it was revised once. Actually, I guess it was revised twice because initially during the budget process, the VA came out and said, our budget's good, we need $0. Then they came back and said, we actually need $12 billion for VHA and another, whatever it was, $3 billion for benefits. Then they came back and revised their VHA down to 6.6. So I guess there really was two revisions. So from 0 to 12, from 12 to 6. In addition to passing the continuing resolution, the Senate also voted Friday evening on an amendment offered by Senator Tammy Duckworth that would have reinstated all veterans fired from federal government by the Trump administration. Thousands of federal workers, including thousands of veterans, have been fired as part of Trump's sweeping efforts to slash the government. Duckworth's amendment failed entirely along party lines, with all 47 Democrats supporting and all 53 Republicans opposing. All right, with that, that concludes it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.